I'm Cassandra Butterfield, and Happy New Year! We are so excited to be here with you. We are talking a little bit about 2021 vision in all aspects. So goal setting and really just having the best year of your life. And hopefully we can help you out with that. So I have here two very good friends. We have Alexandra Stone, body language expert, speaker, author, and coach.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes, we're
Thanks for
so
having
excited.
me.
And over here we have Jen Taylor, mom of 18, naked podcaster. You may have seen that. A mindset coach and motivational speaker as well.
Thank you.
Yes.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, the naked podcaster part, if you couldn't tell, was my favorite to introduce you
Yes,
guys.
well, it's everyone. The naked podcasters, everyone's favorite, right?
Yes. So each of you will give you each a turn, kind of talk a little bit about yourselves and why you really want to do something like this. So Alexandra, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm delighted to go first. So I am a trainer in neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. And if you haven't heard of NLP, what that means is the study of how your brain works, how you're wired for your habits through using the neurology of your brain, the language that you use, the body language that you use, everything. And so you can actually rewire your habits. And so I've been doing that for over 27 years.
Amazing. And that obviously is going to link up very well with stepping into a new year and trying to change habits, maybe accomplish something.
Yeah,
right?
maybe accomplish something, yes.
Hopefully accomplish
goal.
something. Overall, that's my 2021 goal right now. Just accomplish something. So we're going to have to hone that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Just slightly.
Just get something done, you know? But that's sometimes how it is, right? It's
Yeah.
just get something done, you know, do something amazing, right? We all
Yes.
hope to do something. So Jen, tell us a little bit about you.
I am a mindset coach, so I work predominantly with moms who are executives and stressed and living in that conflict and stress. And my goal is to change the lens that they view the world through, give them back some management of their time, and increase gratitude and joy in their life so that the conflict and stress isn't running them.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about how this is going to go. So we're taking everyone on a journey, right? Yeah. So also you won't just get today and tomorrow part 2, but also they'll be able to journey along with you too throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
Because goal setting and life-changing things doesn't just happen overnight.
That's really
Right?
true.
That's very true.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go on a journey, a year-long journey, so all your information will be up on the screen for them, where they can contact you guys throughout all of this. And what we're talking about today is really the preconditions of goal setting.
Yeah.
So one of you kind of want to jump in and tell us what that means.
I don't know,
What does
maybe
that
we should
mean?
talk a little bit about who we are and how
First
we
of
are.
all,
Yeah, first of all.
see, Alexandra and I have known each other for several years, and she's an NLP.
Trainer.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
I was
welcome.
like, it's
Wizard,
not a master,
you know,
it's a
No,
buzzer.
wizard
And
above that,
basically
yeah.
as high as you can go in NLP. And I'm a practitioner.
Right.
Which is the first level of that. So we speak a lot of the same language, and we come up with the same, very similar ideas and patterns, but different demographics.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about that yet.
Right.
Different demographics where I predominantly work with women who are moms that are in the workforce.
Yeah.
Certainly that's not limited.
And I predominantly work with people who have experienced trauma, PTSD, sexual abuse, violence, domestic violence. I work with people who are trying to recover from the grief of death. So that's more of who I work with, and it's male or female, doesn't matter for me.
And again, nobody fits in a box.
No,
for either
nobody
one of
does.
us. But we work really well together because we've known each other for so long. We're such good friends,
Yeah.
and we share a lot of commonalities in who we work with and how we do things.
Yeah.
So there's a story. So it's great that we ended up both being here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And excited
Absolutely.
because we work together so wonderfully. So we play off each other a lot.
Yeah.
But goal setting, you said it's not a one and done, and I think that's a great launching point because this is the new year. And what do we do on the new year?
Right.
We make resolutions.
Right.
And the joke is, oh, just wait 6 weeks and the gym will be empty again. And for those people who work out regularly, you'll get your gym back.
Right.
We don't want that to be the mindset.
Right.
We don't want that to be what happens. So there is a process in setting goals, and you called them preconditions.
Right.
So preconditions are the things that you do ahead of time before you actually set the goal, and it's the way that you think about your goals as well. So one of my favorite sayings is, you can't eat an elephant in one bite, right? So making them specific, measurable, and
Right.
the steps to get to the bigger goals are
Right.
really important. So that would be a precondition.
Absolutely. So I will give it over to you two. Let's talk a little bit about what you would say. We're talking kind of precondition before you even start putting the pen to the paper and talking about goals. What do you guys recommend when jumping into thinking about what you want to accomplish for your new year?
I'll go. The first thing I always want people to realize is that fear is part of the package. We set the goals and then we write them down on a piece of paper, typically is what we do, and then we start moving through our year. What happens is, one of the preconditions is actually looking at the fears underneath your dream. So there's something that lights you up, something that you love, something that you're really looking forward to accomplishing in 2021. And yet there's another part of you that's going, oh, I don't think I can do that. I don't know if it's going to happen. I sure hope it does. So we start, that's one of the first preconditions, is starting to understand that fear is part of the package and working through that fear.
I think the next thing adding on to that would be stating things positively, which sounds like the easiest thing to do, right? But we were talking outside of this about how money is a big goal. That's a great goal to use. It's a great example. So I could say, I don't want to spend as much money.
Right.
And that's not a positive way to put that. Wanting to spend less money is not a way to set the goal. So it's really important. And I mean, we can write things down and spitball them and hone them. But one of the things you need to do in your language, and I think writing it down makes it easier because it reminds you of how you want to phrase it and think about it, is stating things in the positive.
Exactly.
And when you recognize those fears, there's nothing wrong with those fears. They keep you safe, they protect you,
And
also they are holding you back.
They are holding you back.
So
yeah, because when you think about something that you want in the future and you have fear laying underneath that desire or that dream of yours, it brings up physical experiences inside your body. And in order to avoid that, we will do all kinds of things to avoid pain. So we're either going to go for pleasure or we're going to avoid pain. And avoid pain is a big winner in our society.
It is a big winner.
When you ask people, hey, what do you want out of life? People will tell you what they don't want more than they tell you what you do want. So on this 52-week journey, part of what you guys will be discovering with us is how to state what you do want and catch yourself stating when you're ready to state what you don't want.
So that's huge in your goal setting, is how you phrase things. So that would be a precondition.
That's a precondition.
And also, on the fear issue, we all have it.
Right.
It is normal and natural.
Right.
And possibly not even avoidable.
Right.
So lean in. What I say is embrace the suck.
Oh, gosh.
Embrace the suck. But then you need to flip the script and state it more positively. So that's another thing.
I love that. So kind of talking about fear, it's going to be there. So in a sense, just kind of sit with it, right? Embrace it a little bit and pull maybe the good out of it, whatever pushes you, right? The push from it. And then also the language. Language is so important. Of course, we know this. Thinking positively can be really influenced by what you're saying, right? Even if you feel like, oh my God, like I'm just not feeling good right now, if you kind of tell yourself, hey, like I'm good, then it really, your brain catches on to that.
Your brain can catch on to it. It can latch it. Your unconscious mind, do we go into this?
Yes.
Yes, your mind will give you whatever it is you ask for. And so a simple demonstration of that is, I talk about memories from the past and memories from the future. And people will say, memories from the future? I don't have any memories from the future. Yes, you do. So here's what I want you to do. Imagine your next birthday. Got it?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's there?
Friends.
Yeah,
family,
friends.
Right?
So this is a memory from the future, and what we typically do, and this is another piece that's so exciting for us in the work that we do, is we help people stop dragging the past into the future. And so a part of what we do, a lot of what we do is, another precondition is looking at what's holding you back and where did you make the decision in your early childhood about something that's holding you back when you really had no ability to make a decision.
I'll give a great example of this that's super easy. So if I were taking a class right now and there was a test, one of the things that I would have said was, I am not good at taking tests. Why? Why would I think that and say that? Because at some point, I know it was second grade. I mean, I actually remember I had a teacher who said, well, you just aren't very good at taking the test, or you didn't take the test well. Or something was said in a way that put in my mind that I'm not good at taking
Your
tests.
brain latched onto
and
it.
I took that from my past through my entire life. And that is an actual example of something that happened to me.
Yeah.
But it's a great example of what happens to all of us, is that we carry things from the past to the future. So the way you recognize this, because telling you that it happens is one part of it, recognizing it is when you speak in absolutes. I don't, I never, I can't, I wouldn't, I won't.
Everybody.
You're right.
Yeah. Everyone. They
Everyone
all,
thinks that they.
Yeah.
So when you're saying things that are more absolute, unchangeable, like it is destined to happen that way, that's a limiting belief that you have about yourself or the situation, and that is a memory of the past that you're dragging into your future. And when you're making those memories of the future, which is thinking about your birthday, thinking about next Christmas or how you want to do things different, I call it creating the story in your mind. And I talk to my 11-year-old a lot about that. She's like, oh, wait, but when I go to my friends, this is going to happen, and this is, what if this happens, and what if they don't? You're creating a story in your mind about something that hasn't even occurred. You're dragging your past, your beliefs about something into your future. So you're already you're spoiling the pot, right?
Right. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure there's someone out there watching that's saying, okay, that's great, you know, awesome, but how do I deal with it? How do I move past it then? How could it be any worse than 2020?
Be careful.
Right? Yes. But we are talking about specifically within your life, your goal setting, you know, the person you want to be, right? So before the break, we were talking a little bit about not dragging things from your past.
Into
which
your future,
sounds very, you know, bubbly and fun and unicorns and sparkles, but how do you actually do that effectively?
Writing it down first. You have to recognize it. You have to be aware that you are speaking in an absolute. So you actually have to watch your language and then write it down. And I write it down the way I'm speaking it, and then changing it to a positive way. And thinking about, well, why do I believe I'm not good at taking tests? If that's what where did that come from? Who told me that, and when did that happen? And it's not as much at getting back to the source as it is recognizing that it's a belief that you have and changing it to the positive. So recognizing it, writing it down, and then
literally just really being honest about it, honest with yourself at a very deep level. And we had talked about this being hard before in the past, because it really does challenge you. It requires that you are very still with yourself, grounded with yourself, really looking in yourself, and taking the time to work through that belief. Because we write the belief down, but what do you do with the belief when you write it down? It's great, yippee, I've got a limiting belief about myself. Right. And so there are techniques that we use that help you through that limiting belief so that you can rewire. Writing it down and rewording it.
Changing the language, that's huge.
And becoming aware of that inner voice. You talked about writing it down the way I speak it.
Right.
So the way you speak it, becoming aware of that inner voice is huge. And that inner voice, we were laughing earlier because I'm talking to myself while I'm talking to you. I'm talking to myself while it's talking to me. I've got people up there having a conversation. I can see them in my brain even. It's crazy. And so becoming aware of this and how to use it as a tool for yourself instead of letting it, I like to say, eat you alive like the Pac-Man game.
Right, absolutely. So changing that narrative is very imperative to even beginning to look into changing anything.
Yes.
I mean,
well, you're going to create the same goals, similar goals, and you're going to create the same patterns if you don't change. Right. So why is it that you set a goal and you're not succeeding? Is it a lot of it is the language that you're speaking, the way you're setting it up. So again, this is what happens kind of before you need to start getting clear about your language. Another thing that is one of my favorites is ecology. I love ecology. And ecology is how this goal affects me. How does my goal affect me? Then how does it affect my family? How does it affect the community? My state, my country, the world. I mean, basically all those steps. So, I mean, that's really, really enormous. And what will happen if I get this goal? So a lot of the times we set a goal, but we don't think it all the way through or take it all the way through.
Right.
And ecology is huge. We think in setting goals, normally you're thinking about right here, what's happening right here, but take it out further and more and differently. And how does that have a ripple effect? And again, I mean, I used money earlier, and that's a good one. That may be good for me, but how is that going to affect everything else in my family, the world, the bills, you know?
Right, absolutely.
So ecology is very important.
I love that. Well, I think after the break, I want to talk a little bit about the myths when it comes to changing your thinking or even vision into a new year, kind of the myths, everything we hear circling around. People say, do this, do this. Well, are those actually effective? And what should we be listening to? We're talking all about the kind of preconditions with goal setting and stepping into the new year, our new year resolutions, and how to make them last them more than just a few weeks at the gym, right? Which is very effective. So let's talk a little bit about myths. Because there's a lot of self-help stuff going around. There's a lot of stuff you see on social media. I mean, we have influencers now that are saying, you know, do this. This is how you have the best life and be the best you. So there is a saying, new year, new me. What do you guys think about this saying and kind of the perspective around this saying?
I would ask the question, how do you feel about this? So for me, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
New year, new me. Nothing happens in the transition from December 31st to January 1st for me. That's a light switch that you just turn on. Goal setting doesn't work that way for me in my mind. It's a constant evaluation, which is a great time to bring up the fact that, as 2020 showed us, life pivots.
Yes.
And it's unexpected. So what you may think, even finances, we can just stay with that same goal, you know, saving up a certain amount of money, or what may seem like a great idea on January 1 may look very different on April 1.
Right.
Or may look very different. We don't know what is going to come at us. So it looks like a straight line. Oh, point A to point B. I'm going to save this money and it's going to be great. And I broke it down into months and weeks and this is how I have to do it. But then the world happens and life happens and everything happens. And that point A to point B straight line is up a mountain in a snowstorm with a Sherpa and a couple of base camps and low oxygen. That was 2020.
That was 2020.
So new year, new you. New year, new me. If that resonated with me and I felt like it really gave me the positivity to create goals and move forward, then yes, it works. I really feel like it's the lens you're viewing the world through.
I love that.
It's your perspective. So January 1st doesn't work for me. Never has. I've never made resolutions. I don't think it's a great idea, but I have a constant evaluation of my goals. That's more often than once a month. And that way I'm constantly pivoting. I don't feel like it's the end of 2020 and I just messed up everything I planned to do at the beginning of the year. It's not taking account of anything else. So whatever your launching point is for creating these goals and having a positive change in your life, if it's the new year, if it's new year, new you, if it's whatever, you know, then yes, it works great. Otherwise, no, it just creates more. I felt like I failed, I didn't accomplish things, and it continues the fear that we have. Well, we just introduced that fear to some new fears, and they shook hands, and they're hanging out together now, and we have feelings of failure, and then we start some new beliefs. It'll never work out. I'll never complete a goal. This is not going to happen.
And we'll talk a little bit more about this when we talk specifically goal setting, but what about accountability?
Love accountability.
How important, and what are some of the myths, I guess, because I think a lot of people use social media as accountability, right?
I mean, that's a frightening place to get it from.
There are other ways.
There are other ways.
So would you guys say accountability is a really big aspect when it comes to goal setting?
Yes. I like accountability. It's huge. But that's why I just made the comment where I check in with myself. It's not about starting at the first of the year, ending at the end of the year. It's checking in on a very regular basis. I revisit goals every week, more broadly every month, more broadly every 3 months, 6 months.
So that accountability, though, is you, not someone else.
Well, I have a coach, and I think every
Yeah.
coach needs a coach. And I have, I mean, I could,
Yeah, I have a coach.
I could talk to Alex Ann, and yes.
Yeah.
So I think those of us in the profession of coaching,
Yeah.
even in speaking, I mean, in everything that we do,
Yeah.
I have someone that I'm talking to for the things that are more difficult for me to get through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm there to talk to other people about what's more difficult. We all have our zone of genius.
Right.
If you don't think you do, you do. And if you don't know what it is, we can help figure that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So I know what my zone of genius is. I know what Alexander's zone of genius is.
I love that. I love that. Well, we are packing a lot into a little amount of time.
Right.
But when we come back, we'll kind of recap all of this, and then you can catch part 2 to learn more about how you actually sit down and set your goal. Let's kind of finish up talking about the preconditions, because this is only part 1. Tomorrow's part 2, and then really we have part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the rest of the year, because you guys are
Right.
going on this year-long journey with everybody, which is very exciting. So let's talk a little more about the preconditions. Anything else you guys want to add as we kind of wrap up this section of goal setting?
Yeah, Jen triggered something for me when she was talking about, especially how you review the goals every single week, and when you brought up accountability.
Yeah.
We write the goals down, hang them on the refrigerator, and by month 2, they're crinkled. Stuff has been spilled on them, and the writing starts to fade, and then we take them off, rip them up, throw them away, whatever we do. However, the biggest piece of goal setting, not the biggest piece, but for this moment, the biggest piece is recognizing that your goals are dynamic. Just what you said, we don't know what life is going to throw at us. 2020 was a huge pivot for all of us in some way or another. And when you recognize that those goals are dynamic, you revisit them, reset them, the world can open up for you when you've got the language, when you have your mind aligned with it, when everything that you're doing is congruent with those goals. It can change the outcome tremendously. And 2020 can be an amazing year, which it was for many, many people, instead of being like the worst year. This is something we have said. 2019 was the worst, 2018 was the worst,
Yeah.
2017 was the worst. 2020 by far was hugely unexpected in every single way. And yet, do we walk into 2021 taking that with us?
No, we don't. We do not. We do not walk into 2021 taking
Jen
it.
said no.
Here's the thing, every year, like you said, every year there are issues, every year
Yeah.
there are struggles, every year is difficult, and I'm huge into, yes, however, there's a silver lining
Yeah.
to that,
Yes.
and what was it? So I'm not ever minimizing pain that people feel, or devastation, or the loss of a business,
Yes,
or
or
the
Right.
loss of a
loved
life.
one.
Right?
Yeah.
Of
There's
course.
none of that. I'm not minimizing that at all, remotely. In 2020, I got news that my son that was missing for 4 years, they found his body. So what I'm saying is, there are always things that are going to happen
Yeah.
in your days, months, years that are really difficult.
Yep.
That does not mean that is the all-encompassing
Right.
message
Exactly.
for the year. Yes, and what else?
Yes.
Yes, and
And
what
be
else?
continued. Yeah.
So it has been a really unusual, unexpected.
Right. Of
Yeah.
course.
It also brought the world together in a way that it's never been brought together
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
You know,
it's caused us to stop and look at the way we were living our lives. Also, and we've slowed it down a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's very important. And I love ending this conversation with 2020 is going to be over. Figure out what you're grateful for, right?
Yes.
What blessings you got out of 2020. There has to be at least one, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There has to be a few. And then leave all the rest behind,
Yep.
because we're stepping into 2021. And it's going to be awesome.
Awesome.
Right?
An awesome
Yes,
year.
especially because we have you two amazing coaches, and they're going to be teaching everybody, how to have the best year. How do you do that?
Yep.
How do you become the best you? Maybe the new you.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
There you go. So
Yeah.
this is just part 1. Tomorrow we have part 2, or if you're watching on demand, of course, you can find part 2, and we're going to really step into how do you goal set.
Yes.
And you guys are going to kind of walk everyone through how they can do that at home if they're watching.
Exactly.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
All right. Make sure you
This is
catch
great.
part 2. We'll see you later.